Hello, 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 and welcome to the Priceless Opinion, a space rooted in perspective, reflection, fragrance, lifestyle, books, and meaningful conversations. If you enjoy thoughtful conversations around growth, confidence, identity, and becoming comfortable in your own voice, make sure you subscribe below, give a thumbs up and like, and definitely share. Today's conversation is going to be a little different. So many people have asked me, hey, do you sell fragrances? Hey, why you post so much about fragrances? And the answer is no. I don't sell fragrances, but fragrance has become a huge part of my life. And I realized I've never actually told the story of how we got here. So I'm going to read an excerpt from my blog and then we're going to get into it. It wasn't until I went to college that I was made to believe that image was everything. What you wore, how you did your hair, what car you drove, how affluent you were or not. This all mattered because of what people would think of you. So I went to Hampton University and I am originally from New York City. So growing up in New York City, I wore my hair in a doobie. And for those that don't know, wrapped around and with bobby pins in my hair. I wore 5411s in every color. Those were Reeboks back in the day. And I remember coming to college and my big sister was like, okay, wear your heels, wear your shoes, wear your dresses, why sweatpants? And so that was the first time that I felt pressured to fit in because people on campus went to class in heels. That wasn't the norm for me. I wanted to feel comfortable. So many people on campus would have a full makeup face on. The guys would have the newest clothes on, and everyone seemed to have it all together. Everyone looked confident. Everyone looked successful. Everyone knew who they were. Then it was me. I was still trying to find myself, coming out of some traumatic things that happened in my childhood, wanting to be comfortable, but wanting to see if this new thing that I was being introduced to was going to be a part of me. The funny thing is, most of us are trying to figure out ourselves while pretending we already have it together. So that was me, right? Janet Janae Shaniqua. This person that had it all together would be Janae, you know. And so what did I do? I went to the mall. I got some shoes. I got new clothes. I never wore makeup, but I started to dress a little differently from when I was, back home in New York. Depending on who I was around, that was the version of myself. When I was on campus, I was dressed to the nine, hair done, shoes on, going to parties, always had to go to the mall before the parties. When I would come back home, I would put my sneakers on because I was Shaniqua. And then as I transitioned into corporate America, I became Janet, right? I was that person that was the proper person. I was, all of these other things. I spent years focused on image when I really needed was identity. Instead of an image, I needed to know who I was. So that was the beginning of it all. It was taking myself from one thing to the other, depending on who I was, being different, things like that. Fast forward many years later, and fragrance enters the picture in the most unexpected way. So I met who is currently my ex, and he was like, "Hey, are you into fragrances?" And I'm like, I go to Bath and Body Works and get some lotions here and there. I have some Tom Fords and Burberry. And he was like, "Oh no, oh no, we have to get you into fragrances. And I'm like, that is fragrances, right? I thought I knew fragrance. He introduced me to a whole new world. He looked at me and basically said, we're about to introduce you into the niche world. And I was like, oh, what is that? So one day he visited me and he brought me my first niche fragrance, which was Passe Soie by BDK. And I smelt it and I was like, what is this? This is different. Like, he's like, no, you have to put it on skin. And I'm like, okay. Like, what do you mean you have to put it on skin? And I did. And I was smelling myself. I'm like, I sprayed it, smelled. And he brought me some lotion and some oils. And the next thing I know, I didn't realize that fragrance could be a whole experience, like a whole experience, right? And so I started getting more into fragrances. I started figuring out what I liked, what I didn't like. And those that aren't into fragrances, there's things called notes. So, fragrance notes. So, you have like basic things, rose notes, vanilla notes, amber notes. But then you get into other things that I was trying to pronounce, like patchouli and neroli and cardamom, and I'm just like all over the place. Like, what is this? I don't understand. So then I became a nerd, right? And researching what fragrance was and how they interact. So I told you Passe Soie was my first fragrance that I was introduced to. And this one, it made me feel, when I sprayed it on, it made me feel confident. So it made me feel as though I had my stuff together. It invoked that emotion. I didn't realize anything that could do that besides yourself, right? Invoking confidence in yourself. But that did it. Then I was introduced to Dulce Melodia by Suspiro. I smelled this, and this is a fruity masterpiece, is all I can say. I know y'all are looking at the screen, those that aren't into fragrances, like, what do you mean a fruity masterpiece? Think about if you had cherries and peaches and pineapples and all of these fruits combined, and you put them into a fragrance. And it smells creamy and it smells like you're wrapped up in a sangria type thing. This made me feel alive. It made me feel like I was the summertime, and I love the summertime, and it made me feel like I was polished, and I was like, oh, I'm about to go, to brunch, and I'm gonna smell delicious. And the other one that I was introduced to first was by Saharoff, Signature Rose. And this one here is like rose petals. So imagine roses blooming, and they're just ripe. There was like a rain storm that came in that made the roses bloom. And it just smelled so good. I didn't think that I liked florals. Like, flowers, I like getting them, receiving them, but to have them on me. And then I wore this and I felt feminine. I felt like I was floating and I was just portraying like this aura around me. And then looking back, these fragrances were introduced to me as something new. They weren't changing me. What they were doing was introducing me to a new way of expressing myself. Had no idea that fragrances could do that, right? But the biggest impact fragrance had on me wasn't what I expected. let's talk about COVID. So let's go back a little bit. COVID happened to us all. I lost my grandmother during COVID. My grandfather was got very ill, and I was grieving. Everybody started working from home, right? So I'm in these four walls working. And so my routine was got up in the morning, brushed my teeth, took a shower, threw on a t-shirt, started working. Repeat, rinse, and repeat, right? That was just my day. And I've been working from home since COVID. And what fragrance did for me during this time was it introduced me to new emotions to where I wanted to get up, get dressed, put on a shirt, even if I had on leggings underneath or shorts underneath. I didn't have to do a whole suit, but I got up and I started wanting to feel alive, feel like I'm getting my stuff together. And I wasn't depressed, right, in the traditional sense, but I wasn't showing up for myself either. So previously in the previous videos, I talked about who are you? How do you show up for yourself? How do you let the past go? How do you let this pain get off of your shoulders? Fragrance was one of those gateways for me because I was feeling alive. It made me feel different things to the point where I'm like how will this fragrance make me feel, or how will this make me feel? Before, every day felt the same. Get up, take a shower, brush my teeth, put on a t-shirt, get at the computer, walk the dogs, eat, get back, you know. And fragrance was like, nope. Let's what do you want to feel like today? Today, I want to feel like I'm on the beach, so I'm going to put on something fruity. Today, I want to feel like, I'm a blooming rose bush or something like that, right? And so I started getting dressed. I started putting on fragrances. I started being sensational. I started being intentional. And I started coming into who I am today, right? It didn't matter if people were coming over to see me, if I was going out the house. Most days it was just me and my fur babies. And even my fur babies, I put the little strip to their nose and now they sniff it and everything like that. Like it's a whole thing. My son is into fragrance. It's just a whole thing. But something interesting happened. I started feeling better. One of my realtor friends posted on Facebook not too long ago how many people that work from home actually get up and get dressed. And I was surprised how many people already knew that they needed to get up and get dressed, put on fragrances, and get on with their day. So I posted it on mine to see, like, you are the company that you keep, right? And so I posted it on mine and I had a variance of responses. Most people said, yeah, they get up, they put on their clothes, whether they're leaving the house or not, and it made them feel better. One of my friends actually said it got her out of depression because she couldn't figure out why she was depressed. But as soon as she started doing like she used to do, she felt better. I have a soror that says that when she worked from home, she would get fully dressed, shoes and all, take her purse out of her closet, go into her little home office, put her purse on her desk as if she was going to the office. She was more intentional. She was more productive during the day. And then when she left the office, she closed the door. Like, it was a whole day. And I think that whether you put on a fragrance or not, Whether you get fully dressed, put makeup on, and all of that other stuff, I will say fragrance wasn't solving my problems. It was changing my circumstances. It was changing how I showed up. And my advice to people that are having a hard time figuring that part out, you're working from home or you go in the office a couple of days a week or whatever it is, try it. Try getting up if you are one that wear your pajamas. Try putting on some clothes and just spritzing some fragrances. Try going to Sephora, Dillard's, Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, whatever is near you, and just trying some fragrances and see how it makes you feel. That is one thing, I did not think that fragrance would do, but it provoked an emotion. And today, fragrances mean something completely different to me. It means confidence. It means perspective. It means emotion. It's memories. I can remember, oh, I had that on when I went to see this concert, or I had this on during this time. It brings emotions. When it's raining outside, and if you're on the East Coast like I am, I feel like it's been raining for 40 days and 40 nights, so it was really dreary. I put on Dos Melodia because I needed some rays of sunshine. Not only that it was yellow, but the fruit and wanting to be on the beach with the pina colada in my hand. It brought out that emotion. So it was raining and dreary, but it brought out something else. And I always say, leave the impression before you leave the room. What that means is your fragrance is going to leave an impression. What does she have on? She smells good. She was confident. She was this. And for me, it just doesn't mean smelling good, but it also means my energy, because my energy is now different. It means my character. It means my kindness, my confidence, my presence. It means all of those things. Fragrance is simply the final layer of that impression. And so my grandmother used to say, and I think this is that generation, older generation saying, my grandmother used to say, never leave the house with holes in your drawers because you never know what's going to happen. And I would laugh like, Grandma, what are you talking about? She's like, you never know. You might go outside and fall and they got to take you to the hospital and then you got holy drawers. So I would laugh. But now my version today is never leave the house without a scent. That scent is that confidence. That scent is who you are, who you're becoming. It's no longer image, right? You're not trying to be somebody. That is your identity. When you put that scent on and you feel confident and you feel amazing, that is your identity. For years, I thought image was everything, as I explained. And what I learned is that image may introduce people to you, but identity is what sustains you. Kind of like your image is going to get you in the room, but your identity is what's going to keep you there. Fragrance became a part of my journey because it reminded me to show up for myself first. So when I asked, who am I? When I was shouting in the mirror, remember, with tears rolling down my face, it wasn't because I didn't know who I was. I just needed to bring that person out. Thank you for spending a little time with me today. Thank you for allowing me to take you on how I got into fragrances and my journey into that and how it provoked. Remember, confidence isn't found in a bottle, but something a great fragrance can remind you of is who you already are. Perception changes everything. And what I want you to do is stay priceless.